We're opening the mics. Oh, I could turn off the speakers here.
Yeah.
I'll leave our headphones on. Wait, why do I not hear myself? Woo!
Oh, okay.
Sounding good.
Cool.
Just check it out. I might bring down that music a little bit.
Sure.
It's still there, but very low. So we've got that. We can see all of you in the chat. Thank you. Oh, good. The fucking thing. No, it's still working. I hope it doesn't come in and out. Only now. I don't know. I hope everything. You can tell us in the chat. Does the stream look constant? Are you seeing everything constantly, or is there some sort of up and down situation going on with this stream? You know what? I think it might be my dodgy fucking phone.
Do you need to use my phone?
Wait. Hold on, guys. Stream is coming. I know. Look, Turnus fucking Ninemets made everybody wait 40 minutes, okay? Oh, it's okay. Randall says everything's fine.
Thanks, man.
Okay, bro. I know I'm using my phone as a hotspot this week. It's a bit up and down. Did you see? Oh, we can take away the sign.
So professional.
Did you know? Yeah, unlike Mr. Ninemets. Did you see that this week? That Turnus Ninemets did a live stream. It was like, Turnus Ninemets does comedy on live stream for Telecock's birthday. And we were like, all right, what's this going to be like? And it's a bit choppy. I agree it's a bit choppy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wait. I'm going to switch over. Wait.
I love it. It never works. Nothing works.
This is not. But the whole point of it is that Turnus Ninemets was in. No, maybe that doesn't work either. Oh wait. Cool. I think we're back again. That one's there. I'm doing thumbs up to the camera that everyone can see us through. So the OBS software is streaming correctly, and we're going back through there live. Thank you for holding on with us all. We appreciate that. Yes. So I was saying, Turnus Ninemets.
Okay, so
does this live stream.
It was this week.
A couple of days ago, on the Telecock's Facebook page for their birthday. And we were like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And for a moment, I was thinking to myself, as I might, I was like, oh, is Pustiella Commedia.
You sound like you're from Muhuma or some shit.
Pustiella Commedia may actually work better over live stream because it was never funny to begin with. But that was me being a hater. Anyway, so they were like 30 minutes late.
Why? But why?
I guess technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
Because so they had a stage set up in Kotorikatel.
Wow.
Like a full fucking stage.
That's
and
extra.
all it was, and we were like, really? Is Ninemets going to stand there and do material? Really? In fairness to them, they actually did a call to the fucking, what are those twins? The Pierce twins? Is that those guys? Pierce? What are those actor twin guys? Good looking actor. They made it into a video podcast.
Oh, okay.
And there was two of them.
Yeah.
And it was like a Pustiella Gulapod. It was them asking then and then questions, and that worked. And we were like, oh yes, even Ninemets doesn't want to do material down a live stream. And we went, okay, we probably have the right idea too. So that was very interesting to see. Pull my screen back a little bit. That happened this week, but they were like 30 fucking minutes late. So anyway, we're here. Thank you.
So we're only
much.
like 9 minutes late.
We're only 9 minutes late. We're still here. We moved the screen down. Thank you for coming in again, Silla.
I don't have a life. the circus is in town again. Yay. Like, can you imagine me walking every time here? Like, people are like, what the fuck is this bitch like? Just,
in the
because
afternoon.
I had like my mask, a full makeup, wig, everything, sweating, looking crazy.
This is an odd time of the day to be doing the walk of shame.
There's no shame in what I do, okay, honey. I have no shame. Like, but actually, I like the attention. Like, people are like weirded out by me, and I'm like, I like it.
You like that?
I
That's
love
your
that.
thing?
Yeah, it's just like, they just look at me and like okay, but I don't mind. I don't mind. I can actually, because I want to feel again a little bit uncomfortable, because sometimes when you're at stage and you fuck up, and you're just like you're sweating, and you're like, oh shit, I really fucked up, and you need to get over that. And I like to have this feeling again that, okay, it's weird to walk around like looking like this and having like glasses and like,
You want to be unique a little bit.
What? Yeah.
We all do. I mean,
Yeah.
even me,
Yeah.
I still got my bandito thing on.
People are not wearing masks. Like,
Yeah,
I was the only one, like, and I had Super X, like pink one.
Big one around like that.
Yeah, like really like.
I've got to say, my observation, Estonians do not know how to use masks.
No.
You guys are like, I was on a film shoot the other day for an ad. The film crew, they had a mask and they're pulling it off. It's around their face. They're all fucking Martin Helmers at a press conference.
Ha.
All of them, like, they pull it down over the nose. They're just wearing it and the nose is showing. Like, no one knows how to use a mask. So, look, I'm allowed to go to the supermarket. Show us your mask, Sille. That's a fair question. I didn't see who that was from. All I saw was a comment saying, show us your blank, Sille. And I went, whoa, okay.
That's not the kind of show.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's for OnlyFans. So.
I was like, oh, mask. Yeah, mask. Mask is a possibility. Sure. So let's see Sille's mask.
I'm not gonna wear it, but it was like, it's made from this, I don't know, like really eco material, like really like nice.
Your friend made it or something? Estonian
yeah,
designer.
my friend made it. So it's a new brand, and I was the first customer.
Yay.
So, yeah, I don't know how to
silky.
do it.
I'm not going to touch it. I don't wanna
Yeah.
infect
Don't
your
touch
mask.
it. It's disgusting because I've already used it. But but yeah, you can
It
actually.
looks like a really oversized thong bikini. Like, I don't know if you put your legs through that or something, and then it
Oh my god!
around.
What would be the purpose?
Okay.
No, it's not like no, these are not tucking panties.
No. Talking panties.
Actually, you can put a filter here and whatever. Like, so I like.
Oh
it.
yeah, replace it that time of month. Sure. It's great. You wash it out. It's reusable. It's very eco. That's
Very
all.
hipster. This is Teleskivi. I don't know what the fuck are we talking about.
That's all right. Okay, I'll pull I don't have to no longer look. I was going to say, so this week we are drinking
It's really nice.
Jacob's Creek Riesling. Not bad. 2008. Jacob's Creek is Australia. I am a gangster. I know, Rando. Thank you, Rando. I'm keeping it real. It's the only time that I'm allowed to walk into a supermarket looking like the Bloods or the Crips. Or I'm the subject of a Banksy photo.
Okay, Bloods were red, so yeah, Bloods.
Bloods. I'm the Bloods. Okay.
Don't you cannot fuck it up.
So this week we're drinking Jacob's Creek Riesling, a lovely Australian wine company. And if you would like my tip about if you want a good Australian wine, here's the tip. Don't take any wine that has a picture of a kangaroo or some Aboriginal painting or any stereotype shit.
I brought yellowtail last time.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you. No, I'm kidding. Like, we don't have those brands in Australia. Like, because Australian wouldn't
Here's
have
the
that
thing.
brand.
I usually never buy with this.
Maybe they changed the label.
The cork, you know.
Okay, yeah,
like
the screw top.
The screw top, yeah. I never buy it, but like, because I know you don't have a wine opener, so that's why I bought it, because I was like, it's okay, it's passable wine. Excuse me.
No, it was good. It was good. No.
Like, it's just.
Look, it's just general tips if you're trying to find what's the authentic in Australia. Look, we're going to the Teleskivi Rimi. We're not exactly in the fine wine section of the Vinotech here.
Yeah, I just got it from Pisma.
Yeah, you did the best you could. No, it's all good. It's all good. It wasn't all about, you fucking made it all about you all of a sudden. Jesus.
Of course, everything is. Do you not know me? Like, so, yeah, okay. It's a good tip. And I usually don't drink Australian wines anyway, but
okay,
whatever.
That's what we're doing, Jacob's Creek.
Yeah, I like it.
Lease
nice.
likes to make moonshine, €5 per bottle. DM me. Dang, Lise. You're the gangster. You need this shit on. You're the fucking gangster making your own moonshine.
That's one thing I really like about Estonians. Estonians know how to hustle. They can lose their job. They can be like really like low and down and whatever. And they're going to be like, bitch, I'm going to learn new skills. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start a company. I'm going to make Skype. I don't know, whatever. Like, you know, they're going to make shit happen. And I like that, you know.
I'm making the mask. We got Sandra. Yes. I had the t-shirt on.
Yes.
This week I'm representing my man, Jamali Maddox. He's a comedian. Maybe some of you might have seen his show. We had him booked in, but then that Corona thing happened. We're not allowed to have the guests. But the old Vape Lord shirt. So I'm representing Jamali.
I just remember I was supposed to go to Helsinki in 2 weeks to see Eliza.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I knew.
That got. We're working on Eliza. It's so when we're presenting international comedians, it's so hard to talk about it because there's deals. You get all the time in my email. I get, do you want this comedian? You want that comedian? You want this? And like, we want dates. Give us some dates at the hall and the budget. And so I've got all these budgets that are pre-done. I just call up the hall and I'm like, yo, Alexela, yo, Venekatorikeskus, have you got these dates? And so I've kind of can just in like 10 minutes notice give an offer for a comedian and you have to. Yeah. They're like, do you want Eliza? Do you want Bert Kreischer? Do you want Mark Maron? Any of these guys? Yeah. And I know we did put an offer in, and I want to talk more about the different comedians we get offers for, but it's a little bit like you can't unless they're confirmed.
Yeah.
Until there's a fucking contract signed. Yeah. And even if you're like, oh, we made an offer on this and we made an offer on that, it's still not super cool because part of the game is that you're getting all the time. Like, the agent for a big comedian will be like sometimes like, okay, I'll put the feelers out. How much can I get from a tour of Europe? Like Americans know what Europe is. And then they'll go like, oh, no, that's bullshit. She's got a TV show. So nothing is guaranteed. True. But we've been making offers on Eliza. When we get the offer, we're making an offer for, let's just say, a big venue. I'm well convinced. I wasn't quite as convinced like 6 months ago.
Okay.
I'm well convinced now that Eliza could sell a shit ton of tickets.
Yeah.
Probably because I've been watching Netflix and I'm like, dang, this chick everywhere.
She is. I really like her specials on Netflix, all of them, but she did a sketch show and I was not into that.
Okay, well,
so sometimes you can be funny, but depends on the context.
It is, and it's hard. Maybe the writers aren't right.
Yeah.
You don't know the conditions that they were put on. I mean, it's not the Chappelle Show, because that's the greatest TV show that has ever existed and ever will exist.
Yeah. But of course, men were already attacking her. But he's like, so this show proves that you're not funny. I have to watch like Jimmy Carr to restore my faith in humanity. God. I was like, wow, who is insecure, Eliza or you, bitch? I'm like,
I saw there was a movie. She was in a kind of a Netflix movie with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah.
Spencer something. Spencer.
Yeah. I
did you see it?
I didn't see it, but I saw the ad for that.
It's all right. Like, it's not the greatest movie. It's just a bit silly. It's kind of a crime drama. I wanted more action, but she's got to put on a Boston accent. Hilarious, and she plays a hilarious character, and she's a really good. Like, it's worth seeing it. If you're a fan of Eliza, you'll probably be happy to watch it for an hour and a half.
I really wanted to see her, and I was like waiting. I was like, I'm gonna take a holiday. I'm gonna go to Finland. I'm gonna do so many things. Like, it's my friend is having her birthday party. Supposed to have before the crisis, of course. And I was like, I was really excited. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna cancel everything.
Oh, boo-hoo! We can't go to Finland. What a fucking problem.
That was like for Eliza, I would go there.
Yeah, okay, true.
And I have friends there still. So
true. And it's one of those things as well. Like, why is Eliza in Helsinki? Because the tickets are 50 fucking euros there or whatever. How much were they? Tell me how much were they.
The cheapest one was 35.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it was like starting from 35. Until 65 or something. Like, it's like depends where you 60. Sit, because it's a big venue, so you can really sit in the front. Like, it depends. But I remember when Louis CK was in Helsinki, the tickets started like 55 euros or something like that.
Which is tough because the highest tickets, I mean, even John Cleese's, I didn't have the power to set the price of the John Cleese tickets, and they were very high, and they're higher than I would like them to be, but that was out of my control, which is cool. And then people still bought them, so it's fine. In general, I think the average ticket I wanted for Eliza in Tallinn was 30.
Yeah.
Or 30, a little, maybe 30. Like, okay, there's always front rows. There's always people who want the front rows and they'll pay a little bit more. I was trying to make the average ticket 30. And that's a bit of a game as well because they'll be like, the agent's like, yo, you realize we're from America and we earn so much money and you're giving me this bullshit offer from this fucking Soviet. What the fuck is this? And I'm like, that's what I think is fair. And, you know, then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know.
Yeah, it's tough. And I've always been surprised because we've had a lot of great names here in Estonia. Like, I mean, even like in terms of bands or concerts or whatever, we had like biggest names. Like even Madonna has performed here.
It's true.
Like Madonna, like I was like, Madonna came to Tallinn. I was like, what? Is she a doppelganger? Like, is it really happening? You know, like because I've seen Moby. Like there's been Rammstein has been here, Metallica, everybody. Like actually, it's cool. I love it. But sometimes I understand why certain artists would not come because they're like, I don't care if I have like 10 fans in Estonia. That's not gonna sell my albums or. You know, like
I mean that's certainly a factor. I mean the small population size. I think also the ticket prices for music is different for the ticket prices for comedy.
Absolutely.
So y'all seem to be very happy to pay 50, 60, 70 to see your favorite band in Lauluväljak. Yeah. But I was extremely hesitant on that price on John Cleese. But as I said, external factors and, you know, those two John Cleese shows did sell out anyway. So that was still cool. And, but it's not, it's something I think a lot about, like that balance between how much do I need to give the artist to make that appealing. Again, not to the artist. The artists are all cool, right? Agents. It's their agents who are like, because that's their job. Their job is to make the most money for their client.
Get the best offer.
And that's the thing. So the agent's going money, money, money. And then I'm going, these Estonians, I'm not sure they have that much money. And the last thing you want to do is put a show with a high ticket price on sale. And, you know, people can't come or whatever. So anyway, Eliza, it's working. It's come, you know, when things happen, we're going to be working on that one.
Yes, I'm gonna be on the front row. Definitely.
So tell me, you were saying before the show that because I mean it's like this with podcasts that all the conversations happen before the show, and then we have to be like I'm like Sille, shh,
and I never shut up.
Yeah, shh, later. Wait till the live stream turns on, Sille. That a friend of yours misinterpreted. That this is now show number 6, that we've done 6 weeks of this.
Yes.
And your friend misinterpreted what that might mean.
Yeah, so the thing is like, I'm getting sick of people congratulating me being in a relationship with Louis. I'm not.
Congratulations! Streamers are coming from the ceiling. Fireworks.
And I was like, it was so awkward to say like, no, we're friends just making the best of the shitty situation, you know, we're just talking and like, but the thing was like, I don't like to post a lot on my social media, and then like every week it's like Sille-Kadri Louis, Sille Louis, and then people were like, what? Like, I'm so happy for you. You finally met I was like, no. That's so weird, because like, imagine that you meet somebody, you think they're nice, and you're like, baby, do you want to come on my live stream? Like, what? Like, you're just getting to know one another, you're hanging out, you're awkward, and you're like, yeah, baby, you know what we need to do? Broadcast ourselves to a whole bunch of people on a Friday afternoon. That's... Yeah, it's 2020, you know, it needs to be online. Otherwise, it's not real.
Imagine you're on Bumble or you're on your social media, your Tinder or whatever it is, and the guy's like, hey, baby, you hey, look, I got some, want to come on my live stream? Like, what?
But it was like, you know, like on my Instagram, like it wasn't like my best friends or something, because my best friends know and they actually watch it, you know, and they know what's going on, and they know that we've known each other for years. But it was like people like who don't know me that well, and like Tissident podcast fans were like, "Oh, it's so like you're so cute," and I'm like, "No." It's like no, no. But it was funny for me. Like I was like, okay, I was like, well. Whenever, like, the thing is, like, you can do this live with Daniel or with Mika, whoever, like, and nobody is ever gonna be, oh, So cute that these guys ended up together.
True. Daniel was just sitting there a couple of days ago, and I was stroking his mullet. I will not stroke your hair. But I was stroking Daniel's mullet, stroking that hair. But no one says nothing about that, you know.
Yeah, because you're all living heteronormative lives. So yeah, it was kind of like unexpected for me. I was like, no, I was like, I'm just trying new things, you know. I don't know what to do in this situation.
It's so funny, the idea of congratulating somebody on a relationship. Like, congratulations. Like,
I was like, I'm not at this.
Like it's an achievement. Yes. You did it. Good on you. It was difficult for a while. Yeah, there was adversity, but you overcame that adversity. And congratulations. I'm going to send you a card. We're going to write down the day. Wow. There's going to be a thing we're going to put up on the wall.
That's so sad. That is so sad. I remember it was like, I think like my first serious relationship that I was living with the guy. And then actually my friends were like, because I was talking like, oh, la, 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 we went to this and we did that. And they were like, yeah, whatever, Sille. Like, they didn't believe me that I had a boyfriend for like 6 months. And they finally, like, when they saw him at my birthday, they were like, oh, he's not imaginary. He's like really real. And I was like, what the fuck?
So when you do have a boyfriend, they don't believe you.
No.
At all. Oh, these fucking friends, jerky
asshole
friends.
I just saw 2 days ago, I saw my best friend. I didn't have any makeup on. I was wearing sweatpants. And, you know, just like, it's a crisis. I don't give a fuck. I haven't, you know, just like, you know. Like, he was like laughing. He was like, I was like, what? Like, I remember the time when you still had eyebrows. I was like, because I didn't have any makeup on. And I was like, bitch, it has been a long time since I went to a beauty salon and I got my brows waxed and done and la la. And he's like, it's just like, you really look like shit, Sille.
Dang.
Like, I'm not used to you.
Some of that typical Estonian honesty coming through.
I
love that shit. Estonian people say brutal shit to you and go, what? I am honest Estonian.
Yeah.
No, that's brutal
like he was
shit.
literally like, so you've been through chemo or some shit. I was like, wow. I was like, why are we friends? Like, why
it took me a moment. I ran into Sille at Prisma the other day. I was just doing my shopping. I got eggs. I got bananas. You know the joke. And I heard Louis, and I turned around and I was like, I don't know that person. Like, this is like 8 meters away. And I'm like, I don't know who that person is. I don't recognize that person. No makeup. No nothing, just the regular sweats.
Glasses, yeah.
Glasses. I'm like, I've never seen that person before in my life. And I had to be, it was about this far away.
Yeah, we were
and
really
I was
far.
like, huh? Sille? Is that you? Oh, good to see ya.
Shady bitches. Like, I was like, what? I don't like, if I'm at home, I'm going to the store, I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not going to wear a fucking wig. And
no, you should. Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
I don't give a fuck.
No,
but it's funny, like, people take a moment to recognize that, like, it's
when you're not all
dressed up. Yeah. Because I usually, like, really social. I go out, I go parties, you know. So, of course, I put on a nice dress, I put on makeup and stuff, and it's pretty basic. Especially when I'm going on stage or whatever.
So basic. Oh my God, so basic bitch.
But yeah, if I see somebody at the store, I'm like, yeah, like, you know, just that.
It's Estonia style. We see everybody at the store.
Yeah, I do see everybody at the store. Yeah. And you were like,
I never see anybody at the store. That's what freaked me the fuck out. Never, ever do I ever come across anyone in the store. I'm going to pour some more wine out.
Okay.
So I should be polite and give me that.
Yeah, we don't need manners.
No.
This is YouTube.
Tano says, what do I think about wombats? Wombats is a weird, small, fat Australian creature. Do you know what a wombat is?
Yeah, they're so cute. They're tiny bears, like really, like they look like bears.
Kind of, but not the koala. You're not confusing with the koala, right? The koala's in the tree, the wombat's on the ground.
Yeah, I know. They're mammals.
Yeah, very good. Look at you. Oh, Sille knows animals and shit.
Hey. I'm not as stupid as I look, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from her mouth. Sille-Kadri Simer, I am not as stupid as I look. Sorry.
That's actually, I remember when I used to work in Finland, I got that comment a lot. Oh, you're not actually as dumb as I thought you were.
Oh, brutal.
I was like, well, I fucking hope I have a degree and shit, and like I actually read books. Right. But yeah, I like to joke. I like to talk about silly things, dress, whatever. You know, just
outrageously do it.
Yeah, why not?
Do it.
You know.
So this week, one of the things that I enjoyed this week is I got the chance on my podcast to talk to Taavi Rõivas.
The Taavi Rõivas.
Yeah, because imagine there's a Taavi Rõivas impersonator. He goes to birthdays. He does clown balloon shit. He'll come to your kid's 10th birthday party. He's not the real Taavi Rõivas, but I got the real Taavi Rõivas to come into the studio. He sat across from me, and it was cool. It was nice. I mean, he's a nice guy, and he asked me we met, and then he's like, "Wait, what did I agree to?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, thank you that you had the faith in me that you would come." I said, "We're going to have a talk." And I said, "We're going to be an hour." And he's like, "An hour?" And I went, no. And the thing is that I think when the guests come in, they don't realize that it takes 45 minutes to warm up. Like after 45 minutes, we're good. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about the past, some stuff about him. It takes that time. And even we talked for an hour 15. Then I was like, "Yo, Taavi, you said you had a call to make." And he's like, oh yeah, I gotta make the call. That the most satisfying thing for me was that he lost track of time. That personally, as an interviewer, that he managed to get lost in that moment, and it was nice, and it was fun to talk to him. I wanted to talk to him. He does look like Quagmire. It was fun to talk. I wanted to talk to him because I figured that everyone, like, he's always getting asked the same shit as a politician. What do you want to talk about? Politics? What's this, that, the government, all this shit. And I just wanted to talk about anything but politics. And it's hard. He's a politician. Taavi's Me Too moment. No, see, I wanted to stay away. Did I discuss Taavi's Me Too moment? No, because I wanted to be nothing controversial. Like nothing the Chronica, no headlines. When I was writing out my show notes, I always write out show notes. Like anything that could be vaguely a headline, I just didn't want to go in that direction. Just because I think that's what most of the media is always looking for. Yeah. So we talked and it was nice. And it was interesting for me as an interviewer because he wants to go into politician rhetoric. And I mean that respectfully, that politicians have a certain way of speaking. Yeah. And a certain manner of rhetoric means a kind of a bad word these days, but it's in ancient times, rhetoric was just a method of speaking. Like it meant like to give a good speech. And I mean it in that terms, not like the fucking you're just saying dumb shit. Like he has a way, a politician's way of talking. And it was interesting to let him talk like that for a bit and then try to steer us into something about him. And then we got somewhere and then he would naturally go to some sort of more politician style talk. I let him go for that a bit and then pull him back in again. Like, no, let's talk about this. And it was fun. It was fun because, I mean, this is not his first rodeo. He's had many an interview before. And I'm the inexperienced one here. He's the experienced one in this circumstance as a politician. Yeah. And by the end, because I think in Estonia, it's a little bit easy to dismiss Taavi. I think we, in our small country and in our small thing, we're a bit like, that guy, he was the fucking what? Yeah, he was the prime minister, but whatever. We see him at the shops. He was the young guy who was the prime minister, and we can tend to boil these things down a little bit to just, like an anecdote or like that.
But you also made jokes about him. I remember.
I did, and absolutely I did for sure.
Because you were like, oh, what is he? Like 18? Like I remember, like you making actual jokes.
Turns out he's 3 months older than me. He's also 40. Dead set. He was dead set. He's 40. I checked.
You should take some tips from him.
He's 3 months older than me. I know. And I wanted to just talk to him about anything. Just see what he's like. And we settled in and he started to talk about, by the end of it, if you check the last 45 minutes, he speaks about when he was the prime minister. And he was the youngest prime minister. Well, not Matla, but that was kind of different days. Yeah. Young prime minister. He did this first and he did this first. And, you could see he's proud of his achievements, as he should be.
Of course.
He's had amazing achievements. You're not the fucking prime minister. You sit at home and watch motocross videos or some shit, right? Like, and he wasn't bragging. You could see, like, he was just a guy talking about what he did, and he genuinely was proud of his achievements, and that was nice. It wasn't bragging or nothing, and that was kind of cool when he started to talk about that. And I wish we had more time, but, you know, busy guy, he had to take a call. Yeah. So that was cool. I like that one.
That's nice, and I like that you actually respected him and just talked to him as a person, because I know that they put on a lot of facade. They already know what the answer should be because they have so much people. You need to communicate that message, and you need to put it. You know, like you're not actually answering the questions. You're all like leading. You know, like a little bit. Yeah. So it can be really tough to go through the wall. You know, because he's so prepared. He's like, okay, you're going to ask me this, I'm going to answer this, you're going to ask me this, I'm going to...
and he knows, because as a politician, if he says something contrary to that, bam, article, headline,
absolutely,
controversy. Yes. So that's what I mean with that politician rhetoric. Again, not that he speaks in a bad way, but due to the media, due to the way that we analyze every word that a famous person says, that he's learned to speak carefully.
Absolutely.
And that's normal. That's how it is. So
if you're a public figure, you need to be really careful. Yeah, absolutely. You cannot just talk shit on Friday. Like, you know, I get that because there's a lot of eyes on him, and it's like, and people actually remember, like, you fuck up once and
that's what they remember, not your achievement.
Absolutely. Like, they always remember, like, oh no, this guy did that, or he said that, or like, it's always like that. So people remember the negative. They're more drawn to the drama, the scandalous things, you know, oh my God, I can't believe he said that, you know. So that's if he is successful and he does something amazing, then people are like, you know.
Yeah, whatever. He did that good thing, whatever.
Yeah, we expect that from that, but, you know. So I get that. And it's nice. I was surprised that he was actually like willing to come, you know, just like...
Yeah, nice guy, like super nice dude, really nice guy. Because I've met him a few times, so I guess he knew who I was.
Yeah.
I've been at events. So if I'm usually hosting some company party, some international event, so I might see him there. And a couple of times when I've been at the events, maybe Louisa is performing. So I've been able to say hello to Louisa as well.
Yeah.
So that's the reason how I kind of, not really I know people, but at least like they know who the fuck I am. So when I talk to them, Queen Slay, Tim Reedy.
Tavi. Yes, Tavi.
Go fuck yourself. No, Tavi's great. So yeah, but hey, the next ones I want to get on is I am talking to, hopefully already next weekend, to sex like therapists and sex researchers and stuff like this. So I have this lady who is working in Tartu, and she's an expert in, you know, sex stuff, let's say. So yeah, I want to talk to her about male porn addiction. I want to talk to her about male sexuality. I want to talk about from a male, and then I want to find a man sex researcher as well.
Okay.
So anyway, we got that one hooked up with this nice lady. She's already agreed to talk to me about men, because I think, like, coming back to the thing about you, I think we can also relate it to, her name is Christina something. She was lovely. I'm really sorry. I messed her surname. But she's based in Tartu. Like, how men react to women. And I think so much of it is coming back to this porn thing that we're not really talking about in society, and the negative reactions. And we even saw that this week on the Comedy Estonia channel with the reactions to Anne Vida. Had a video this week.
Really?
And anytime
I saw that the video, but like...
Right. Anytime a woman puts out a video, it's just instant gonna get a certain amount of responses. And then Anne is, well, I mean, and then Anne is, as she says, a lesbian, and she's also very politically active. She's also, you know, putting her opinion out there, and right on. Not that she should be holding back, absolutely not. And then that provokes the opposite response from certain members of the male community, and it's fucked up. But I'm interested in that dynamic.
Well, guys are just jealous because she has had more pussy than you. Like, I'm just gonna say that, honey. Like, don't be jealous. Don't be jealous.
True. She's a lesbian. Why are you upset with her?
Yeah, like, the thing is, like, it goes back way, like, generations before, like, how women were perceived. Like, no, just you stay at home. You don't need a degree. You don't need to work. You just take care of things and kids and, you know, and stuff like that. times have changed, but people have not. Let's just say that, because I remember like I still fight with my grandpa about like not having kids and stuff, and I'm like, how many times do we have to go over this? And it's like, no, like I get it, you know. And when you grow up as a woman, you're like, yeah, you kind of get used to it. You kind of get used to the hate, the sexism, the discrimination, like all of that. You just have to have a tough skin and just like fuck it and live your truth. And you know, and I have so much respect for Anvaida because I think she's hilarious.
She is. She's very funny. Absolutely.
Like I remember, like I was doing open mics for like 2 years, and she came and I was like, "Fuck, I'm quitting." Fuck, like she actually has something to say. I'm just peak personality, but I'm like, yeah.
That's a very interesting point. That's a very good point that you made. That in stand-up, you're like, "How can I be a better comedian?" You know, having a point of view is absolutely a huge part of stand-up.
Because I can tell stories all day long.
Right.
But if it's like, okay, you had some crazy life, but what's the point? What are you trying to say? Like, what are you trying to tell? Like, is there like some underlying, like, okay, like it doesn't have to be even like a social issue. It doesn't have to be LGBTQ issue, whatever, but it can be like something more. And actually, when you hear like a really good set and you're like, I learned something today. I'm like, wow, that's really, and that's the beauty of comedy, when you actually learn something or you get a different perspective and you can actually laugh about something that is really traumatic or really tough or whatever. Like, so that's why I love comedy. I really, so I like, shout out to Anvaida.
And it's doing great. And I think when a young stand-up comedian, and I mean young and maybe new to comedy, let's even say, there's two ways that you can sort of evolve. First of all, maybe you come along, you're doing some comedy, you're doing some stand-up, and maybe you got the jokes. Right? Maybe you're just really good at writing a punchline, being a bit silly, and you're just fooling around. And then after a while, and then your progression though, in that case, if someone's like good at writing jokes, a bit silly, a bit fun, but it's like, what is this person saying? Where are they coming from? Who are they?
Yeah.
Their job for that comedian is then to work out what their perspective is. Mm-hmm. What am I saying? Who am I? What's my point of view? And then when you combine being I'm silly, I know how to write a punchline, it's fun, with a point of view, then that's when it gets. Now, there are other comedians who come along who have a point of view first and a great personality. And then you're like, yeah, I get it. I see your thing. Mm-hmm. You're coming in from that perspective. You're trying to say something. You clearly know who you are. But, you know, the jokes, that's also fine. The jokes can come as well. One of them, you know, one can come before the other. It's okay. So there's a certain type of comedian that you go like, you're trying to say something, you're not that funny. No problems. Just get better at writing jokes. And then they get better at writing jokes. And then it's the same goal. Oh, I've got a perspective, but now I know how to write a joke. And you can, both of them are very legitimate ways to grow as a performer.
Absolutely. And it was because of, actually, I don't do stand-up anymore, but it was because of stand-up I realized that podcasts are the thing for me. Like, you know, like I was just like, I need that other person being next to me so I can bounce and I can just have a dynamic and, you know, chemistry, making fun of each other and just coming back and forth and just being whatever. Like, I always needed the second person. I didn't know that before I met Marianna. And then I was like, oh, and then the people are like, oh my God, you're hilarious. And I'm like, I've been saying that for years. Nobody fucking knows.
Listen to me.
But I needed, like, because I needed somebody, like, you know, I can be really crazy and like just like make no sense. And I needed somebody to just be leveling me down and just like giving me different perspective, different things and different ideas, because we're so different with Marianna. Like, she doesn't drink at all. She works with the police and she's like this and that, you know. And I'm like, blah, 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 like I'm totally crazy. Yeah. It's like, it's different and I like that. And yeah, that's why we had like immense like dynamic and chemistry immediately. Like I was like, yes. And that's the way actually how I am when I'm talking to somebody, like with my friends or whatever. Then I like, but it was so hard for me to do it alone on stage. Like I was telling stories, but people were like, sometimes okay, but most of the time they were like, what the fuck is she talking about? I don't know how to give the context, and they don't get what I am, who I am. And I was like really struggling. But I was like, yeah, I found the podcasting, and I was like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I was happy.
I think actually that one doesn't exclude the other, because there's a spectrum of you're growing as an artist, you're growing as a comedian, you're growing as a performer. And I think that it's like, and I would agree with you. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like, yeah, you at this moment in time, you're a way better podcaster, right? Cool and excellent. Now that doesn't mean that's always going to be the way. That means you're doing podcasting, you found your thing, you're learning how to present, you're learning how to tell your stories, you're learning how to do your thing. Like that doesn't mean that when you not go back, but keep dabbling in stand-up, that will help you because you've just been doing so much presenting, talking, entertaining that, that will make that one better. Or you've just, after so much time, you worked out like, oh, that's how jokes work. Oh, I found that thing. So I think it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. I think that your growth as a performer can come through podcasts. You get an audience, you learn what's funny, learn how to talk. And as you mature as an entertainer, I think that the stand-up is not this thing that you can never do because you're more experienced.
Okay.
Maybe. However you feel comfortable with. Absolutely. But I don't think one excludes the other.
I totally agree. It was the thing that I didn't find my voice, particularly when I was alone, and I didn't know my audience at all. And I just, like, the best time that I had was like when I was roasting somebody from the audience. I had the fucking, like, I was like, fuck everything. Like, I'm gonna just, like, I don't know you, but you're gonna hear everything about, like, and I had so much great time. And, but it's really tough and it doesn't happen all the time. It's really rare. And when it does, it's like, it's great energy and stuff like that, but it's hard to sell it every time. So, but no, I had great time just doing open mics, and it was so much fun. I really did enjoy it, and I've seen so much stand up in my life, and it's something that I really enjoy.
I think it's cool, and I think that as stand up comedians, we often are too narcissistic because heaven forbid this is an art form where we have to stand on a stage alone under lights with anywhere between 1 and 1,000 people watching you. So can be a little bit narcissistic. I'm willing to admit that one.
But it gave me so much confidence because if I could do that, I could I could be a host or do whatever shit because I've already had a room full of people like not impressed at all. Like, and you're like, I did not know that my eyeballs can sweat, and like, it's like literally you're just like, I'm gonna die. And like it can be really bad. It can be really good, but it can, you never know. And after you go through this, like all the highs and lows, and then you're like, okay, I can do fucking anything. Like, I'm not afraid of the camera anymore. I'm not afraid of trying new things. And like, it gave me so much confidence. And I'm like, I didn't have that before. Although I am a confident person, but I had some reservations, because I'm still Estonian. It's still like, I don't know. It's not. Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. And I think that there's something particular. I mean, there's many different forms of comedy. Stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, improv comedy, I don't know, writing comedy.
Parody, whatever.
Parody, all kinds of different kinds, right? But I think the thing is that stand-up comedy, more than the rest of them, is arrogant because we're singularly alone on a stage. And so we develop this narcissism and this arrogance. And we develop this like looking down at every other form of comedy. Like, oh, improv comedy? Those guys who just make up whatever or, scripted sketches, whatever. And I think we end a little bit of, and which might, like all arrogance, can help you in some ways, but often not so
it's like you overhype because for me, entertainment is entertainment.
Right. Yes.
So
sure, and I think that's the thing. Like we look like it's great to be good at any sort of comedy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Any sort of entertainment, and I have a feeling that as you develop, and you clearly have, through the stand-up, through what you do, through the podcast, you'll be able to go back to stand-up and be more present and more aware, and because you're more experienced to know like, okay, I just got to do this to make stand-up work.
Definitely gonna be like 2 people in the audience who actually know me, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yes, you got your audience. That's what you do. That's all these podcasts are, is a way for people to get more. I mean, imagine that. Like, this is what I was grilling Daniel last night. We were on Tim Reedy's podcast. The Crack Den, crack like the Irish crack, C.
I don't get the name.
R-A. No, crack is a Irish term for like the good times.
Oh.
So you would say C-R-A-I-C. Not
Okay.
crack as in
Yeah, because
smacky wacky cracky.
I was thinking like cracking jokes or something like crack.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, I
crack
was
is
like-
an Irish
okay,
thing.
Okay.
So the crack den, that's the pun. It's not crack, but crack.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're on Tim's podcast, and oh, dude, Margot, and I'm going to tell you all about Sweden and start ranting on Sweden. Gave me PTSD, but I will get to you, my friend. We were on Tim's podcast,
Yeah.
and Daniel was there.
It's a new podcast because I think he.
Yeah, it's only a few episodes.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and I could rip in. Wait, what was I going to say here? Fuck, I forgot this one.
Because you were talking about Daniel.
Right. What was I going to say that I started ripping into Daniel about something last night?
Because Daniel's been insecure or something? No?
That is true. True. I'm not unsure. Okay.
He
I
kind of,
forgot.
because when you were doing the live, I kind of see that he was kind of down. I don't know. He had this, like, when you were doing the live show like 2 days ago or something, he felt a little bit like he was...
We may have been high.
Oh.
Yes, we may have been high. Maybe that might, like...
Well, that explains why. Like,
Wacky.
like I was like, why is Daniel like more lost than normally?
You're
Like he seemed a little bit
Maybe
like
wacky, tobacco situation happening there.
it's not shocking news, but okay.
No,
because
so
I was
that's why Daniel might have seen
Yeah,
the-
because I was like, is he depressed? Is he okay? Like, do you need to send him some?
Fuck, what was I going to say about... Because that was the thing. We just got really drunk and did this podcast last night, and it was fun, and it wasn't streamed. It was just me. It was Daniel talking to Tim, and it was just me interluding with stupid shit. Dan, look, I'm all over Dan. I want to stroke the mullet. Because, look, if you see the mullet, you want to stroke the mullet. Like, you got to. And Daniel gets all these women talking to him like, Daniel, you would be so much more attractive if you cut the mullet. And then I'm like, yo, Dan, but would these chicks sleep with you? No, unless there's an offer on the table as your manager, I'll give you the advice that unless there's an offer on the table.
What kind of manager are you? Like,
trying to get I got to get all the things for my client. I got to sort out all the things. You don't understand the depths that
I never got this package from
an artist manager goes. That let's say I manage your live shows. We're looking after Tissident.
Where you are the producer. So.
Do you need stuff? What do you need? Do you need boys? I don't know.
Well, I never asked. Okay.
Yeah,
I never asked.
You want boys? I'll get you boys. I don't know how to.
And then he brings Ari, and I'm like, fuck you. Like, no.
The manager can help with things if you need to talk to, I don't know, so it seems like you guys, you got your wine, you got your performance, you fantastic ladies.
We had our own cocktails.
You got your own
We had
cocktails.
cocktails named after us.
We did that because we did the first Tissident live show.
We had also the Christmas special as well.
Was that No 99?
We had we had the cocktails in No 99 and also in Von Kral.
Right.
We had both.
We had the first Tissident live show in No 99.
Yeah.
And it was cool. Oh, I dug that show so much. I don't know if anyone in the chat was in the first Tissident
It was
live in
a
No
small
99.
crowd, but I really liked the stage. We put so much effort to it.
God, that was fun.
It was a struggle bus, honey. But it looked so good.
It looked right.
Like in the photos, it looked so good. Like I was actually thinking that, shit, I don't have a professional photographer because the stage, we put so much work on the stage and it, the decorations and everything. It looked so good. Like I was really happy. I was sweating because I was wearing a nun outfit. But,
You did have that.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
I was sweating like crazy, but yeah, it was. I had so much fun.
And for me, when we did that first Tissident live, that was, well, much more than 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago?
Oh, it was in August last year.
August last year. So
Yeah.
10 to 8 months ago, let's say, something like that. And it was cool because you and Mariana had organized your own cocktails. So there were special cocktails. And I noticed that, of course, being a Tissident live show, that there was more young ladies, which was cool, which is absolutely great. The men that came, I was looking at them going, what the fuck are you doing here? But okay, maybe you want to get laid. You come with your girl. You're like, yo, baby, I'm super sensitive. I listen to Tissident too. I was like, okay, right on. High five, brother. I get behind that. And it struck me. It was like a show from our old days because there was so much effort. Right? Like these days we do so many shows, and I'm not trying to say they're impersonal, and I'm not trying to say that we're not putting in effort, but when you're doing like shows 5 times a week, back in the old days, we used to have a DJ in the fucking lobby, and there were lights that we would put up.
Sander Mulder, I think.
Sander Mulder would play at some of our shit.
I remember, yeah.
Like we used to do a load of effort, and that's super cool, and I love it. But when you're doing like 5 shows a week, you can't do that same effort, and we really put that, as you said, that set. I was like, the set, why? And they were like, no, we're going to put the thing.
Yeah, we were.
Let's do that. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
the tree.
Yeah.
Does the fern have to be there? It did have to be there.
Yes,
and it was great in the end.
But because we used the cloth, it was the black background. We had so much plants and everything was extra. We had the candles and the poster, and it was a lot. It looked like a fucking theatrical show, like Broadway.
It was nice.
Estonian Broadway, okay. Like and people actually, they took photos. They were like, oh, we're here. Like they would get excited to see all the colors and the purple and this and that, and you could see it's extra. It's our personality. We're extra. We try to do. One step more, like of course we could just use a mic and be on stage and sit down and have a glass of wine or whatever, but that's not our style. We're like, no, it needs to look good. And Mariana was like, that was her first thing. She was like, we need to have like these candles and this and these colors and like this lighting, and like I was like, whoa, okay. But also with the Christmas show, like I remember
Christmas show was the second show, which is a Von Kral.
Yeah, and you were carrying those stools and like.
Oh, the stools. Well, that's pretty normal. I mean, for me as well, I got to admit, as producer, having produced a number of different artists, I also understood that it was your first show. And that's an important thing. And we got to put that effort in and put that extra.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, it's like we have lost something that it's hard to do that personal touch 5 times a week.
Absolutely.
And that extra thing. And I missed it. And not only that, I mean, it was very obvious. There was many more women there. And that I thought was fucking right on. Like we already have at Comedy Estonia a pretty good mix. Reasonably good. Don't get me wrong. It can all be better. But compared to comedy in United Kingdom or America, it's more a male-oriented thing.
Sure.
So our gender balance is already better than that. However, when we had Tissident, of course, the gender balance was even better. And I was like, this is great. They got the cocktails, the drinks. We used to have because we have our own craft beer back in the day of Comedy Estonia.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, we have the old bottles are still over there, I think, actually.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it really, while I'm not going to deny I was frustrated as we were setting up that show, but once it happened and it was all there, I was very happy that we went to all that effort to make that very different thing.
People brought us gifts.
Yes.
And we took photos like half an hour after the show, like on the stage.
Yeah.
And like, I'd never seen like anything like that. I was just overwhelmed. I was like, I couldn't sleep for 2 days. I was just like, like, it's so much adrenaline, and it was so much fun. And actually there was one review, like one person.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, there was
review. That's great.
Like, there was one person, right? Like if this is it's a podcast live show, so it's not like actually, it's not stand-up, it's not theater, it's not like whatever. But there was one girl who wrote that it was the best theatrical show she has ever seen, because she was laughing and like we're just talking crazy stories about dating and childhood and whatever. We're reading letters and we're having a great time. It's like almost 3 hours or something like that, and it takes a lot of energy. After that, I go home. I'm exhausted. I cannot even speak. I'm so tired. But I feel great. It's like it's a mixed bag, and it was great. I had so much fun.
I remember now. I said that I had blanked out on what I was talking with Daniel last night.
Okay.
I'll talk. This is what I spoke on the podcast last night with Daniel, and maybe it invertly relates to you.
Oh, okay.
So Daniel had said that he's a single man right now, and if you are interested in Daniel Weinberg, you can certainly message him on any really platform, and he will respond. But I was like, yo, Dan, have you ever dated a woman who has listened to your podcast? And he said, yeah, I've dated a few chicks who listen to the podcast once or twice.
Okay.
He's not like a real player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to make him out because he's clearly not. And I'm like, Dan, you got to stop and think about this for a while. You've just met somebody. Like coming back to this thing I was talking about before, why would I date somebody and then invite them on a live stream? That's the most fucked up start of a relationship ever. But think about this, that you've met somebody online and it turns out they're a fan of the podcast.
Okay.
So Daniel's talking to this young lady for the first time they're talking. If that person, assuming that this young lady is a fan of the podcast, she's already listened to a bunch of episodes. This young lady has already heard, let's say, anywhere between 3 to 10 hours of Daniel talking. That, I'm not saying it's wrong or bad. I'm just saying that's an imbalance in the situation and it doesn't have to be a killer. Maybe she's super switched on and maybe she's super chill and gets it and knows how to deal with it. Nevertheless, it still exists that she has listened to you talk for 8 hours and you have not heard her listen at all because you're a man, you don't listen. But nevertheless, you know what I mean? And that's still a factor and that takes a hip chick to deal with that. So how is that? Have you had any blokes who are any guys who are fans of the podcast but have, attempted to talk to you, do you think?
No.
Shut that down.
It's like, no guy. Most of the guys who actually listen are fans of Tissident are gay.
Okay.
No, it's
not.
No,
sorry. No. No. I mean,
oh my God, that was so homophobic of you,
Louis. That's
Louis.
not what I meant. I'm not. No, I meant like only for you. I meant in terms of you, like Sille ain't get nothing.
True.
Pardon me.
So because absolutely. I met some fans of the show because during the live and whatever, and most of the guys they are gay or bi.
They're gay or they've got a partner. And that's,
yeah. So but I don't mind because I know that 80% are women that listen to anyway,
sure.
and that's cool. So I haven't met anybody who would be like, yes, Hila, I listen to you talking 100 hours of shit. I don't want to date you. Like,
oh my God.
No.
This dude, we got to get him I know. Chronica headline. Rando, Chronica headline, Louis Zezeran is homophobic. First of all, as if Chronica would talk about me. Number 2, Louis Zezeran is homophobic might actually increase my fan base in Estonia. Right?
That's so true. There will be like 2 things like, right on, Ekre. and then they were like, who is Louis Zezeran?
Who is? Yes.
Why does he have like a weird Jewish name or something like it would be something like that. But no, like my friends, I have friends who listen to my podcast and that because they already know me, so they're like, oh, we already know your stories, blah blah blah. We know who you are. Like they're like, no, we're not impressed.
You're boring, but I'll listen.
Yes, we're not. I'm not impressed. But I like Mariana's voice, It's like everybody likes Mariana's voice.
Mariana's the one getting some action here.
She's been recognized, yeah. She's been like when she has used dating apps, she's been recognized. So it's like, oh, okay, you do that podcast, and actually, usually, but people are like, oh, Mariana, you're so great, and you have a great voice, and oh, Sille, you're also here. It's like that's so fun. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I started to use Bumble this week.
Oh yeah, we need to get into this. Like, guys, yo, if y'all watched a few episodes, I've been pushing Sille. I'm like, chick, come on, honey. Why aren't you on the dating apps? Why don't you have the apps? Why aren't you swiping? Why aren't you getting into it? And Sille's always like, no, it's not the Sille style.
It's true, but
okay. You did this week.
Yeah, it's now literally the end of the world if I'm on a dating app. But I was like, okay, I got curious. I was like, yeah,
I want to get into it. Because this is the best. Guys, as soon as I heard Sille was on a fucking dating app, I'm like, this is the whole episode. So, however, let's take a little toilet break.
Sure.
Kaisa is on there. She said, yeah, Kaiser says, I have to say that listening to people's podcasts really does give you a good insight to kind of people they are, at least from my perspective. Now, Kaiser is our Comedy Estonia graphic designer.
I know.
She does all the graphic design for all the stuff. So I can only imagine what fucked up shit she thinks of all of the comedians. Daniel, me, Roger, Sander. She's worked Ari. She's worked on all of that. And then listen to our podcast. So there's not enough guys on Bumble in Estonia. Boring quickly. Absolutely. Tinder has an overflow and Bumble is the slow-mo. It's a little bit higher quality than Tinder. Absolutely agree with you, Kaiser. We're going to get to this, though, because you're on Bumble. We're going to go to the toilet, and then the next hour until Cooler Pod comes on is going to be us talking about dating apps.
It's already 5 o'clock.
I know. 5:05. All right. Toilet time. Toilet time.
Sure.
Are you going to keep talking to these?
Well, if they want to listen, I'm like...
Okay, wait.
Thank you. Okay, podcast is one, like doing podcast is something that I love. Like I love to do it, and I know a lot of things about, and it's really intimate. If it's like you listen to somebody's podcast, it's really like you really get to know. If you have listened to every episode of Tissident, you really know what I'm all about, and you really know my stories, you know my background. We've discussed, okay, like funny stories from our past, but we also discuss about just really like heavy stuff and like trauma and, childhood or whatever. For me, it's like, I have so much respect if there's somebody like I meet and they're like, oh, no, I have listened to your episodes. I don't know. Every time I'm like, I'm not sure what do you think about me, because it can go either way. You can think that I'm the coolest person you have ever met, or you can totally hate me and you'll be like, you're a loud bitch, you have nothing to say, blah blah blah. So I'm always like, I'm really cautious, when I'm like just meeting people, because I know that a lot of people don't like me. They don't like my personality. They just don't get me and it's cool. I don't want everybody to like me anyway, because I don't like everyone as well. But I'm always thinking that I immediately know that if I'm gonna have like a friendship with somebody or not or whatever. So, and thanks guys that you think that I'm cool. It's so cool. It's actually nice to read some positive comments or feedback or whatever, because I do get a lot of shit online, and I know I have a really big personality. I'm in your face all the time and I don't give a shit. And, I get that. And for me, when I started to do this podcast, when I was always thinking was like, I'm just going to talk to Marianne honestly. I'm not going to pretend that we have an audience. I'm not going to pretend that it's a show or whatever. I'm not going to put on a mask. It's like me and Marianne talking as friends.
Where's that vibrating coming from? Is that your phone?
I don't know. What? Is somebody calling me?
Yeah, it's your bag vibrating. Jesus. I hope that's the phone is the reason why Sille's bag is vibrating.
Grandpa.
It's Grandpa. Oh, Grandpa. It's too bad we can't. Okay.
Mä edistän sulle takas, papi.
Tere, Vana Isa.
Joo, mä edistän sulle. Sori, mä ei saa praegu rääkida. Okay, ciao, ciao. My grandpa was calling.
Oh, Grandpa, Vana Isa.
I actually call him Papi.
Oh, Papi. Okay, oh, Papi.
Not Papi Chula, Papi. That's
Yo, Papi.
yeah,
Papi.
because he looks like he's Latino, but he's really not. But
okay. All right. I like
Kaisa's saying that, Sille, not everybody has to like you. You're not chocolate. I'm like, okay.
Her bag vibro went high. I know, right? Her bag is vibrating. Zzz, 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 zzz. It's on.
Nobody ever calls me, but it was Papi. But I'll tell him I'll call him back.
I had that whole bit. I had that whole stand-up bit for a while because I learned that you could have a Bluetooth vibrator. Like that was a thing. That
really?
You could have the vibrator and the vibrating section, and then this could be controlled via the app. And I guess the wire was intrusive, and you could do what you need to do with the vibrating section, place it to the places that it needs to be placed, and then you can zzz on your phone to, you know, get your zzz going. I thought maybe it could be another room. I thought maybe your girl could have it, and you could just sit in the next room and be like, zzz. How funny would that be? Zzz, 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 zzz. No? Like you just walking around. Zzz, zzz, zzz. No, okay, like stupid guy fantasies. So okay, this is where we're going with the second half of the show. So Sille-Kadri Simer, you have an account.
Yes.
On Bumble.
Yes, it is.
All right.
There's only like 10 people in the app, so.
This is an interesting part there, and that's true. There's many less people on Bumble than there is in Tinder. Okay.
Yeah, but I've been using it only like for 2 days. I was just checking like what's going on. For me, yeah, I am not used to dating apps. This is not something that I do because I'm hyper extrovert. I go out, I meet people, I'm social. You know, it's like I never needed this dating.
She says that, but she doesn't have a boyfriend. So okay, but cool.
Different issue. Anyway, so yeah, I was just like, okay, I was just, you know. At first I was like kind of overthinking because I don't know how to present myself on a platform like that. Like, you know, like I was actually thinking like what kind of photos should I use, because I'm not gonna put anything that I'm wearing a wig or too extra, because without context it's like what, like, you know.
So you're considerate of the context already. Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, no, I'm gonna put like photos of me that if I would go on a date with you, that's what I would look like, you know. I'm just like my basic outfits, you know, who I am. Just, you know, I was just searching. I was like, okay, this is what I look. I think, like, okay, you know, this is how I see myself. And I didn't write much about myself. I was like, I don't know, like, and I wanted to see what other people are doing. And there's a little tiny tags you can put, like how high, like about your religion and whatever. And it was really interesting. I was just reading about like, is he a smoker or non-smoker? It was like, I kind of got addicted. I was like, okay, like why you want to present yourself like that?
There's a few more tags on Bumble.
It's like, yeah. There are a lot of tags, and it's like, and yeah, so like almost every guy puts that his height, and he's always like 7 foot or something, like really tall. I was like, what the fuck?
Height's not an issue for you? Because in our minds, it's a thing.
No. And
you
like,
want a short guy? Do you want a guy shorter than you?
I'm almost 30. I don't pick anymore. Like, do you think I have an option? I'm not 21. Like, it's
you 21-year-old bitches with your preferences and desires. Fuck you. Wait till you're 30 and shit's drying up. You'll take whatever Mijay comes along. Anyway, sorry.
But the thing is, like, I usually don't fall in love with somebody's looks. I fell in love with somebody's personality. And then for me, it's like, I don't ever think that, oh, are you tall or short? Are you fat or thin or whatever? Like, if I really like that person, if I have some chemistry and I'm like, oh, okay, like, I really like this person. But it's so hard when you see just maybe 2 photos of them. I'm like, I don't know, like I haven't, like it was so hard. And the thing was, putting myself out there like that, I was like, well, I was used to the people judging me, but they at least buy the ticket for that, you know, like, so it was
swipe left for €5. That's right, because you are so used to people judging you, but you have such a difficulty with people judging you on social media like this, on social apps.
And it was different because I never like met anyone online. I don't know how to actually talk to people online, because I'm like, when I meet somebody in person, I'm like, yeah, hey, what up, blah blah blah, cracking jokes, this and that. But I'm like, if I don't actually see that person, I have no idea who is he, like. So yeah, I got one match and I was already ghosted. So it's like real life. It's like real life, you know.
Straight up, one match, and you said hi.
Yes.
Because first of all, as a guy who, previously I had used the apps as well, and I always felt like it was my responsibility to say something first. Like the woman would, match, and then it was me who needed to go like, hi, how are you? What did you do today? Mm-hmm. Hi, I'm a rapist.
Did you say you're a rapist?
I'm not.
Oh, I was
like, no, it's negative.
I was like,
in there.
I was like, you really said that you're a rapist? What the fuck?
Wait. So Kaiser clearly has opinions about Bumble, which is fantastic. However, I think that in Bumble, some men play the payback.
What is that?
Card. That's interesting. Yeah, as in, since the girl has to write them upon a match. Right.
Oh yeah,
that's the difference in Bumble.
It's like a feminist app, kind of like.
But isn't that the thing that you need to write them first?
Yes.
So of course he ghosted you. He couldn't write first.
No. I wrote him. I wrote to him, and he has 24 hours to reply.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, unmatch. I was like, okay, and that's fine. So the thing is, like, I have to be the first one to make the move.
Yeah, the thing in right.
Yes.
Because I had that. I mean, I would match with a woman on Bumble.
Yeah.
And nothing. You're like,
okay. I was like, okay, so and then it took me so long time to actually write the guy, because I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? I'm like,
just hi.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, what's going on?
That's all. Yeah. So and I was like, okay, but I'm just using it for the 2 days, so I don't really know all the quirks and whatever. But I was just scrolling through it, and come on, like there was some things made me laugh so hard. For me, it's like those men trying too hard, Oh, look at me, I'm so funny, blah 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 blah, and you're using somebody else's meme or jokes. Or
so this is a problem. Let's go this. So
okay, so I'm gonna clock.
No, it's good. So men, we want to show we have a sense of humor. Apparently, universally, that's an attractive quality to have a sense of humor. Okay, cool. But then but what you were saying is that it's important to show that it's not just a superficial sense of humor.
Yeah.
That it's not just a meme.
Mm-hmm. That it's not something that. Okay, yes, we share a lot of jokes that are not ours or memes or whatever. It's common, but is that the way you want to present yourself? That you're not original, you're really shallow, and you're just like, oh, I found this funny, ha ha ha. I'm like, okay, and like I showed you some screenshots, like men with power tools. Oh, I like to screw, ha ha ha.
So there's one. So Sille sent me this screenshot this week, and it was a dude holding a chicken. Like he's like a real chicken, like a real life chicken, like a frozen chicken, not some plucker duck shit that I was talking about on my Facebook.
Like a
real live chicken.
Yes.
And that was his photo of him like, yo,
shirtless.
I'm with the chicken. Another interesting part of the photo. So first of all, the joke is that he can pick up chicks.
Haha.
Not bad. First of all, you're Estonian and you're using an English language pun. Okay, cool. All right. And that's reasonable. It's not
this is the way you want to present yourself. Fine. Okay.
But okay, like in the case where you said there was some other dudes who just put a meme there, right?
Yeah.
That's bad. Now we can agree on this. If you just straight up put a meme, straight up put an internet photo, not enough effort. At least for this dude, because she sent me the screenshot of this bloke. At least for this dude, he went to some place where there were live chickens. And he did indeed take a live chicken and hold a live chicken and had a photo. At least give him that. I'm not trying to say it's
I will remember him.
Exactly.
True. I can see that there's personality. I will remember him. But the thing is, like, if you want to make the kind of joke, okay, think about the setting, because there were so many things okay, let's talk about aesthetics, okay?
Let's go.
Like, my first impression was like, oh, you live in Elva or some shit, okay? Because the background was so like, there was like a house.
Shout out to everyone in Elva. Love
I was
Elva.
like, the house was falling apart. You have a chicken, you're shirtless.
It was a farmyard. It looked like a regular farmyard in that photo.
And then there was like, in the front of the picture was a Saku original, like an empty can of Saku.
Like in the corner. It wasn't that prominent.
But I drink all like, okay, it's never gonna work.
Oh my God.
And I was like, you look like fucking Estonian version of Joe Exotic. And I'm like,
if he was in Elva, he would be drinking he would be in Elva, he'd tato. It would be alekok. Anyway.
But like, it was not pleasing to look at. I was like, you can make a joke, but just like really put an effort to it. It was just like, you know, like, yeah, it was like.
So my conjecture is, with this photo that you showed me,
Okay.
that he did put an effort.
Okay, all right.
He went to the farm. Let's assume that this gentleman doesn't live on the farm.
We don't know. We don't know.
We're going to assume that he doesn't. Give him the benefit of the doubt. He at least took the photo with the chicken. Now, however, I will agree with you that the thing that we only quickly alluded to was that not only was he standing there holding a chicken, he was shirtless holding a chicken. And not only was he shirtless holding a chicken, this motherfucker was white. Like pale.
Like mozzarella realness.
Like glowing white. Like this motherfucker had just been in Chernobyl, glowing white, holding a chicken. Put your shirt on, brother.
Yeah. So, okay. There was also some accounts that I could see that, yeah, you're extra and you're like, I'm this and I'm funny and blah, blah. But I'm like, don't try so hard. It's like, you know, it's cool to make jokes and whatever.
It's hard to know how much to try on.
True.
But
there was literally a guy who had like silver paint all over his body. I was like, yes, I can get that you're loud and you want attention. I can get from looking at, then there's some blurry photos of you and with your friends, and it's like really mixed messages. I don't get it. Like, you know, it's like, because I take it like, you know, when me being as a manager, I was like, look at resumes. It's like a couple of seconds, you look like something, yes or no, and that's how my
approach. How you look at it.
That's resume. My approach. I'm like,
I'm applying for the job. What's the job? Sille-Kadri. That's what the job is. Where have I got to work? Sille-Kadri's. That's the job. That's the. I've been working on the railroad. That's the.
Well, you cannot be allergic to sushi, so that's what I'm gonna say.
Ooh, sushi!
That never gets old. So I was like, looking at, okay, you're trying too hard. No, you think you're funny. No, honey. Like, you know. But there was like actually some accounts were like really like I could see that he has a fun personality, the way that he describes himself, but it wasn't like, not like, oh, I'm so pretentious and I think la la la, but it was more like, you know, like, fuck, I hate this quarantine. I have never used dating apps. This is awkward. I don't know what I'm doing. If you're bored and you want to get a glass of wine, you know, swipe left or something. Like, it was like like,
sure.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
A little bit of humbleness in there as well.
I can relate to that. You know, you don't think that you are the best shit, like, this is me, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just like, you're real to yourself and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm trying something new. And I'm like, yes, I can relate to that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I get that. And you're not being like, ha ha ha, like, I'm making so much jokes here and like I'm putting like answering all the questions in a really comedic way. Ha ha ha. Like, you know, it's like, you don't need to do that. Just be yourself.
So Bumble is the difference. So there's Bumble is another one of the apps, and Tinder is obviously the one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And so the difference with Bumble is that the woman has to
start the conversation
first. You can't just be like, yeah, what's up, chicks? But I found, now I did use in my time, I use Bumble.
Yeah.
There's not, as a few people pointed out in the chat, not as many people on Bumble, but
True.
Bumble seems to be, I don't know, like a little bit more international or something. So I felt there was less candidates on Bumble, but the quality was overall higher. Now, which makes me wonder that Sille-Kadri Simer has not been on Tinder, and I fucking want to be there when this chick starts going on Tinder.
The thing is,
you start going into the fucking dredging through the sewers of social media.
Well, here's the thing. I wanted to use Bumble because, as you said, there's more likely, you know, that non-Estonians are there, you know. So I was just, the thing is, like, the first thing I opened the app, I was like, I know this dude. Oh, I used to date with him. I know. I actually knew people on their app, and it was like kind of like, so hey, what's you know? It's like I'm not gonna, you know, date with my friends, but like I knew a few people.
You never did that. You never was just like, that person's my friend. I'll just give them a match just to see if they match, just to see. And then you never did that one, like just to see if they match. Maybe that's a guy thing. Like maybe we should sleep with him. My friend will sleep with
No, I
me.
never. If I know if this is like my friend or somebody I know or work with or whatever, and I see this person on a dating app, I'm not gonna, because I'm not interested. We're friends. It was super, and I know, in fact, that my ex-boyfriends use Tinder, and like a lot of people that I know use Tinder. So I'm like, I don't want to go
normal.
there.
Okay.
I don't want to go there.
It's normalized these days.
It's
Okay.
so awkward. It's just so awkward. I'm like, okay.
Okay, so
Because I've seen the screenshots my friends sent me, like, Sille, dude. I'm like, okay.
and that's a great point about Estonia. You can't like not see
Yeah.
your exes. You can't, and maybe if you're not a how to say, super frequent user, maybe because you might see your ex like 6 months ago on the app, but they're like they canceled their account and then they've remade the account, so then you see it again. You're like, you again.
Oh yeah, in 6 months I would be hopeful that he found somebody already. Like, you know,
Maybe they did, but maybe it didn't work out.
True.
That's the process. That's the game.
For me, it was
happens.
always like, I have friends using Tinder, and they were always like, I always thought that he was married, but apparently not, or something.
Now this is the next fucked up thing. Okay.
For me, it was like, so I don't know. I have so much like shitty opinions about these dating apps, and I'm like, it's never has like, I'm not that person, and I'm now trying just okay, I'm doing this YouTube live, I'm trying new things, I'm doing whatever, like I'm just like, because I'm fucking bored as well. I'm bored, and this is really the end, you know. So I'm like, okay, I don't mind, and it has been fun just to see what people put out, and you know what they do and how they see themselves and how they want to present themselves. It's really interesting. It's kind of like
it is how you do that, because you start to like I use Tinder as well. You can have a number of photos on there, and you can let Tinder choose the order of your photos. So like, you know, what's the first one?
Yeah.
And Tinder uses the algorithm and the AI and the deep learning or some shit, I don't know, to work out what's your most popular photo, and then it's going to put that one first and the next.
Okay.
But I think there's like, you had to like, I noticed on Tinder, you needed to have a reasonable photo first, nothing too crazy, nothing too boring, something in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you wanted a next one that was encouraging. Then you wanted maybe one that showed you with a hobby. Oh, I like to play sport, or I go diving. I don't know, whatever the fuck you do, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe one with your friends. Like if you've got friends, you want to put that as like three.
okay.
Three. Like I got my friends.
I
like,
love this theory. I'm like,
yeah,
really
there's
like
a
taking
whole
notes.
theory. For me,
I
so
need to take
for
notes.
me, it would be a photo. Number 3 for me would have been a photo of me and Ari-Matti Mustonen. Good friend of mine, absolute legitimate, but still like number 3, not the first one, not trying to flaunt it. But if you decide like, okay, you flick through, you know, 3 or 4. 3 or 4 is your famous friend.
Okay.
You know, that you're like, oh, okay, he's not flaunting it, but it's there. You can go through. You always want, maybe 3 or 4 as well should be a quirky photo. You don't want the quirky photo to be the first one. Of course not, right? But, you know, okay, normal. You want to be like reasonable person, not axe murderer, has friends. Oh, a little bit quirky as well. Oh, well, that's going to be, you want quirky as like 4 or 5. That you've got that side, but you don't have to push it out. There's a whole, you don't need the algorithm. You just need me. I'll show you the order of how these things should be.
Yeah. Louis, 40, not married.
Oh, it's truth. 40, me and Tavi. You know what? Tavi also not married.
What?
Lives with his partner. They're not married. Research
Yeah,
that.
like 4 kids or something.
Yeah, that's, and what a progressive idea. They're not technically married. He's not technically married to Louisa. But they got kids. How modern is that? It's fantastic. Kaisa clearly has opinions about online dating. In Ireland, most men had 5 photos with their friends. It was the figure out which one I am game. The least pretty. Yeah. You can always use, Marco says, always use your Christian dating app, bro.
Christian dating.
Don't go with me. My ex-girlfriend was Christian, and I'm like,
you still have some trauma.
Really? I came to Estonia and I found the one Christian woman in Estonia. Oh my God. Anyway, we're going to move on from that. Why would Some people put memes and random photos in their Tinder. I don't know exactly. Why would you put something so generic? That's what we didn't understand.
Yeah.
Something there. Okay, so you matched with this one dude. There was nothing. He don't want to give you no loving. So yeah, definitely. So Bumble was more international. Less people were international.
Sure.
We've got to fucking somehow we need to have a live stream. I wish we could have a live stream of you going on Tinder on the first time, and we can see your phone. Like somehow we've captured the phone on the same screen as you going.
I don't know if it's actually you can do that.
I don't know how that would happen. I'm not sure. That might also be an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, I think it's an invasion of privacy.
Gentlemen are on the screen.
But I think I decided that I put my name just Sille. I didn't put Sille-Kadri because it's so easy to find me if I would just put my I didn't put my full name. So
right.
And maybe I don't know. Let's see. It's a new thing, and I totally forgot. Like today, I just remembered. I was like, oh yeah, I have the app. But I'm not. I'm just still getting used to it. But it's fun.
Oh right. Oh sorry. Stevie M says Tavi and Louisa were married in a church just before the whatever scandals happened. Okay, they were. Pardon me. I didn't know. For a long time they weren't married, and it was cool. And that was at least when he was prime minister. He wasn't married.
Okay.
I'll give him that.
So yeah, it was like before the Me Too.
So they did Me Too. Yeah. But even before that, when he was prime minister, and that was one of the interesting things about him being prime minister, that it's an interesting comment on our society and even globally that he was our prime minister, but he wasn't married, which would not be acceptable in many other countries.
Oh, okay. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just like, because he has like 4 kids or something. Like 2. Oh.
2. Even though he has loving relationship,
like
2 kids,
long term.
All the thing is good. Long term, it's all great.
Okay.
But he wasn't married, which would be unacceptable in many other countries.
Okay.
Couldn't do it
I
in
just
Australia.
find it interesting. Yeah. So I don't know.
Right.
But I know
just don't have a different last name, right? Because if you're Louisa Vark, you want to keep that stage name. You don't want to be Louisa Roivas. You want to be I'm Louisa Vark. I sing the songs.
Yeah, the brand. Yeah.
Yeah, you could keep on brand. I mean, can you imagine? Oh my God, would you? Okay.
Oh.
Would you ever take? Do you think that you would ever take a man's name?
Depends. If it matches my everything like.
It's gonna match, isn't it?
If it's gonna sound good, I'm like, I don't know. Here's the thing, like, because my name is Sille-Kadri, then I always thought that my last name should be something with an S or something, because it's Sille-Kadri Simer, so I'm so used to it. SKS.
Okay, does work,
yeah. So it works. It's kind of like, it's like a poem. Really poetic, so nice. But the thing is, like, Estonian last names are like Karu and Põder and Kuusk.
Regular things.
It's like, like pine tree or bear.
Is that because the history that I was told, now you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is that because, history scholar here, I appreciate
Sure. Okay, yeah. I'm going to give my expert opinion on
that Estonians do have regular names like lake and field and tree and all this shit, because you guys were slaves up until even a few hundred years ago, even a little bit before that, and y'all didn't have last names. And then eventually you were like, oh, we're not slaves. We need last names. Okay, what's your last name? And you're like, God, Poo. Yeah, and Yarv. Yeah, yes, Yarv. Like,
well, as far as I'm concerned, it was like, if you had like a German or Russian last name, it was Estonianized.
Right.
But if you lived in a farm and you only had first name, you were like the farmer's daughter, something, blah, blah, some shit like that. So you got the last name from the farm or where you lived, or like the location.
Something around you. Yeah.
So it wasn't like that, oh, I don't know what my last name is going to be. I saw water or something. But like, like the most common was Tam, I think, like the tree, and like, but for me, it's like, I always met guys whose last name was like Goose or Bear or some shit like that.
Like Goose. Olu. Really? Someone's got the last name Uru? Olu?
No,
beer?
No,
Bear.
Bear.
Okay, yeah. Karu. Okay.
Like Karu or
Goose.
like,
What's goose in Estonia?
honey.
What?
Honey.
What?
H-A-N-I?
H-A-N-I. I-E. Yeah, okay. Asian countries, most people know Kim. Keeping it real, Donald. Right, so honey, so that regular kind of name shit, that's interesting.
And I'm like, that's boring. Sorry, like
You
your
want
last name
something
is
with
boring. So I have to take
Sorry,
mine.
I'm not being shallow here and stuff, but your name does not excite me. So like, whatever, swipe no.
You're gonna take my last name, honey. Okay, this is how it's gonna be.
Maybe.
Like,
Maybe maybe you gotta, okay, that's the
But
deal.
I don't like the Finnish thing as well. But like in Finland, like it's like you get married and you put the two names, and it gets like then there's like you have like three names and then two last names, and it gets really complicated. Because
Where does it end?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
How many hyphens can we have?
I don't know because
Jussi-Pekka Simmola. Oh my God, it's too much.
Because I remember I literally had a coworker. I'm really sorry about this, but like I remember I had to take his ID to make a card, you know, like whatever documents and stuff, because it was his first day at work. And I was like, okay, what's your name? He was like, Ala-Rauni Nahko, Juga Taapo Sami Ala-Rauni Nahko. And I was like, what the like
So many. They got the vowels. They got
Rico
that.
Eino Samoli Ala-Lauri Nahko. And I was like, what the actual fuck is your name? Like he was like three names, two last names, hyphens, everything. I was just like typing it in the computer. I was like, what the fuck I'm typing? And it's like, and then I was just like, you know, and I didn't like, because I had a lot of friends and they always had like, in Finland, they had like 2-3 names. And it was always like Juhani, Tapio, Petri, and then Piiranen, Laidonen, something, Hermanen, whatever. And then they had another last name, and it's like, the names, like it was crazy. And I can imagine like I would be Sille-Kadri Simer, something else.
Pakalainen. Yeah. Torvalainen. Yes. Hello, Sille. You come to my farm and we make sauna, and then we drink karo, and you find me attractive afterwards.
That sounded so much like Ari.
Simakaro. That's right.
Simakaro, yes.
Yeah, that's a Sille-Kadri Simakaro. That would be, as Kaisa has
that actually
suggested
sounds like
in the
I'm
chat.
a politician. Something like I'll be into politics. Yeah.
So no Finnish guys. We know that. We know that. So for you, have you seen any Finnish guys on the Bumble app when you've been on there? Because you can match sometimes if you set the distance long enough.
Yeah.
80 kilometers, you start getting those.
Yeah.
So I did that. You start getting those Finnish chicks if you start matching. And if you're a guy and you get your Tinder or even your Bumble and you set the like 50, 70, 60, 80 kilometers,
Helsinki,
you start hitting Helsinki. But a lot of the times you start getting these bimbos. Like they're just these bimbo. And don't get me wrong, they're hot as fuck. So you're like, yes. But you're like, what am I going to do with this? You know, she's like, hello, my name is Jutta. And like, Jutta's got big boobs and she's blonde. But you're still like, nah, you're over there and you're in Helsinki. You're like, nah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I have seen couple of Finnish, but I recognize the name, but
Okay.
no, like I've seen actually in Bumble most of them are Estonians still. Like,
So have you got to the end of the Bumble? Did you get to the end of the swipe thing in this
How
few
do you know?
days? You know what I mean? Like you can get to the end, at least like when I was on Tinder,
Okay.
I could get to the end.
Oh.
Like, and that's because I'm 40, so I'm out of the age range of most women on Tinder. So there was a limited pool
Okay.
of applicants, as I believe we were referring them to. So you could, if you were on a particular swipe mission, it's reasonable to get to the end. And you get to the end and Tinder goes like, no one else, you fucking loser. And then you log on the next day and it's like, here's 3 more losers that maybe, you know, you might want to match with a loser. Did you get to that end in you didn't?
No. I put actually I was just like I was like, I was a bit drunk when I had the app, so I put like 26 till 40. Like,
sure.
I was like, fuck
40, honey, only 40? I mean, think
Sorry.
about things, okay? All right.
I dated guys older than 40, and I'm like, too old.
Too old, okay.
No. It's like, in certain point, I feel like it's more like a father figure or like not a boyfriend.
Yeah, you're expressing your daddy issues at that time.
Yeah, and my father is like 47 or 48 or something like that.
Okay.
So
Have you dated a guy who was almost equivalent in age to your father?
He was like 5 years younger, yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, and he was like he had a daughter, like she was 16 and I was 24.
Dang. Well, at least you're older than the daughter.
But like I had more in common with the daughter than the guy. Because you can see in a certain point there's like, oh, is she a gold digger? Like, why is this 24-year-old hanging out with this 40? It was like kind of like this and that. I was feeling really uncomfortable.
Okay, you didn't
and yeah, at first I was like, okay, because I didn't know how old he was. The thing was, he thought that I was 30. I thought that he was maybe 35. The truth was, he was 42. I was 24. I didn't know because I was like, oh yeah, he's cool.
We're all lying about our age.
No, we didn't lie because we didn't know. We just met through my friend. It was just really random. It was it was so random, and I was like, okay, and it was like on a second date. Because he told me like he wanted to be upfront, so he's like, I'm divorced, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And I asked like, how long were you married? It was 20 years. I was like, when did you get married?
Did you get married at 13, motherfucker?
And he was like, 42. Like I got married when I was like 20, and I was like, you're over 4. I was like, shit. I was so shook. I didn't know what to do. I was like, you okay? I was like, I'm 24. He's like, you're so young. I was like, yeah.
Dang.
So yeah.
Dang, really? You're that young? Oh.
Like he didn't think because I was like, but I thought that you were all, like. I was like, yeah, it was kind of awkward, but we got past that, and he was a nice guy. I really liked him, but it didn't work out in the end. It didn't work out. And when I met his kids, I was like, things got too real. Like I don't have kids. Like the divorce and everything. I was like, no, you have so much baggage, and I'm not there yet. I'm living a totally different life, and I want to do different things, and it didn't work out. But I respect the guy. I like the guy. And we left in good terms because he's a grown-up, actually, and so he doesn't put on any we didn't have any drama or anything like that, but in one moment it was just like, this is not what I want.
All right. So you've still got some swipes to go on Bumble. We can still sweep swiping. We can still be finding some new candidates who could be applying with their CVs for the position. I'd be interested to know when you get to the end of Bumble, because it's not that. That's and also a lot of people in the chat have also expressed that the pool of Bumble applicants are much lower than Tinder. And I think like I was mostly when I was back in the game, I could see that there were less applicants on Bumble, but there were a lot, but not that many on Tinder. And then I would just, if I'm hanging out with my famous friends like Roger, and I would, young, attractive, well-to-do, and I would browse over his shoulder at his age level, the number of applicants that he might, endless. Endless. So clearly her range has to match with my proper age.
Sure.
And when you were someone like Roger who was in the zone,
it's like 20.
It was just 13. Like just so young, Roger. So young and naive. And there was so many more than that, because sometimes I would match with a woman. Okay, maybe woman is giving too much credit. On Tinder, and I wanted to write back like, young lady, why did you match with such an old man?
Oh, because you're into that creep.
True, I'm a bit of a creep.
Yeah. You're the one who likes 18-year-olds.
Like, change my ways. We've all moved on. We're all growing as individuals.
Yeah, because we're on a lockdown. We don't have a fucking choice. We have to become...
We're growing as individuals, becoming better and making better life choices.
Actually, the one thing that I found really interesting is that my friend told me that he's now in a relationship, and I was like, whoa. Okay. I was like, okay, that was so sudden.
Good
like,
thing. Okay, well,
it's a good thing.
Maybe it's a new thing, but still can be a relationship. Okay.
And I was like, okay, with who? He was like, with my ex. I was like, with your ex.
Sorry,
I was like already like, okay, interesting choice. And I was like, why? I was like, no, it's just during the quarantine. Literally, like, he has an expiring date when they're gonna break up. What the fuck? And I was like...
Sounds healthy. Sounds healthy.
Actually, I was really impressed. I was like, damn.
Dang.
You were like, fuck it, we're in a lockdown. Hey, baby.
Yo.
Like, what?
Yo.
Okay, so we're gonna be 2 months in a relationship. Take it or leave it. I don't know. How does this conversation work? I had so many questions. I was like, what?
Imagine that the length of time that we're allowed to have sex is determined by Yuri Ratas. Yuri says when we have sex, honey. Yeah. We're only hooking up in the lockdown. As soon as the lockdown is off, I'm out of here. We done.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I was really impressed. I was like, damn, I don't have any kind of skill like that. Just to force somebody to be in a relationship with me, like for 2 months and live together. Actually, like live together.
They're back living?
They're living together for 2 months or something, and then it's like.
So wait. Okay, so we need to find more information out here. So was she just like one of them, just moving out and had nowhere to go?
No. Mm-mm.
So they had reasonable living places that they weren't being kicked out of.
Yes. They just didn't want to be alone. So they were like, fuck it.
I'll move in. Really? Not just like, I'll just come over every second night and get some nookie?
No. Because I was actually thinking of visiting him. And he was like, no, I'm going to come by your house because I'm not alone in my house. And I was like, what? Like, who's, like, what? Who this? Who that?
You had to give up an apartment. You can't just give up a lease like this. You know, so one of them had to give up a lease to move in with the other person.
I was like, wow. I'm telling you,
it's big. It's interesting.
I was like, I never thought about that. Just to give somebody like, okay, so we can be together until the end of the crisis and then fuck off.
I had that when I was living in, and I know Margot, if you're still watching, I didn't talk about stand-up comedy in Sweden because I lived in Sweden. I'm connecting this back.
All right.
I lived in Sweden for a total of 2 years, and I moved there because originally in 2007, because I was a backpacker, but I had an IT degree, and that there was like a company that was going to pay me a lot of money to be a consultant there, and they were like, "Yo, come to Sweden," and I went to this company's offices in Stockholm, and it was like a goddamn stock photo. They were all tall and good looking, and they had trendy, like not just suits, like trendy suits. And they hadn't just have a coffee machine, they had like amazing espresso machine. And everybody had stand-up desks, and they're all looking like very good looking Swedish consultants. And like, do you want to work for us? We'll pay you a lot of money. And I went, yes, I will. And I lived for 2 years in Sweden. And I had a Swedish girlfriend. Wait, where was I going? What was I talking about Sweden again?
About stand-up. Open mics.
Open mics. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
How were the open mics?
So anyway, I was living in Sweden, and it didn't go well. It wasn't a compatible society. I did do stand-up comedy for the first time in Sweden.
Oh, wow. I did not know that, actually.
Yeah. I was living there, and actually I quit the IT job, but I was still doing some training. I had a bit of money, but I wasn't working full time, and I was really bored. And I went, there's a lot of stand-up comedy going on in Stockholm. I'll go down and do an open mic. And I actually have the footage. It's not here, but I have the footage of my very first performance.
Oh, wow.
And what I did, it was an outdoor gig. It was nice. It was like it was outdoor, but it was like an enclosed area. It was nice in Stockholm. It was the summertime. And then I started to do comedy because I was like, comedians are so retarded. I really like hanging around them. They're not like regular Swedish people. And then my girlfriend was like, I work during the day, and then you go out at night. I don't want you to go out at night. And then this was the beginning of the end. So it didn't work out. So I'm not a super fan. So I'm not a super fan of Swedish and their conformist ways, and I think they have a pretty conformist society. But that was that whole thing because they have no lockdown in Sweden.
That's
right
so
now.
weird.
And they have, this is the bit I don't get, and maybe somebody on chat can fill me in into why this is. Sweden has like 2 to 3 times the death rate of Norway, Denmark, Finland, right? They have no lockdown, and they're totally fine with it. They're like, yes, we're Swedish. Like the Swedish arrogance is so strong that they're like, fuck it, we're all dying. We don't give a shit. Like I spoke to my friend. He's a Canadian guy who lives in Malmö. And he's like, yeah, we're going drinking at the bar. I'm like, what? And now the WHO today says Sweden's a model of like how it should be. And I'm like,
But they're not doing anything.
I don't get it. I don't like if there's some herd immunity shit. It's quite a look. Anyway, Sweden fucked me up. Swedish people are arrogant as shit, and they think Sweden is the best shit that's ever happened because ABBA, IKEA, and meatballs are pretty good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm traumatized and I never want to go back to that country again.
Well, I remember when I used to live in Finland, then there were a lot of Swedish people who were like, you live in Finland, so you must speak Swedish. You know, they were like, and they immediately were like, and I was like, what? Didn't you learn it in school?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm from Estonia. I learned Russian in school. Oh.
Finska. Yeah, you not speak Finska.
Yeah, and I was like, what? I'm like, because they assumed, but you work in a restaurant, so you must speak Swedish. And I'm like,
they all think
I don't have to do anything, honey. Like, and they spoke perfect, fluent English, but it was like the point they wanted to make. No, we're the friends of Finland and blah blah blah.
Right.
And they asked
those Swedish motherfuckers who live over the edge. We're like Örebro or whatever shit. We've got a yacht. I booked my yacht into Örebro.
Yeah, so that was the thing. I was not impressed, and the second thing was like I thought all the guys were gay because they were like tall and blonde and everything. I was like, gay.
Yeah, you were never like just.
I
like,
don't know. They looked at
no. Swedish guy. Maybe he's got some money. Maybe he's got that nice. He's got a sweater on that looks nice, not like some dude around here like me with.
He looks like a square. I don't know.
Oh, he looks like a square. What are we in the 1940s? You square.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
straight from Greece. Okay, so we don't like Swedish men. We think that they're good looking, but we think that they're a little bit Ken doll-ish.
I never.
Did you have when you lived in Finland for quite some time in Helsinki?
3 years.
3 quite 3 years.
3 years.
So did you, let's say, even go on a date with a Finn-Swede guy?
No.
Okay. Not at all. Was it you ever approached by one? Was that an option?
Nope. Same with the Australians. They don't like me.
They don't like you.
They don't like Australians. Don't like me actually. Okay. It's weird because I remember it's weird. I have met a lot of guys from New Zealand and Australia, and they're always like, "Yeah, I get it. You try to be funny." I was like, whatever. You lied. You're loud. Yeah, you think you're so pretty because you're from Estonia, huh?
Dang, those Australian guys pulling that.
I was like,
going that full neg on you.
And I was like, bitch. Okay. But no. And also with Swedish men, they were like, not impressed. They were like,
okay.
Oh, you're some Russian wannabe or something.
Oh, so you needed to date some fucking Jussi from Ita or whatever the fuck, who is a countryside boy who, is just in the countryside and has no self-esteem, and then that was your...
No, I dated one Finnish guy. He was crazy alcoholic. Like, he was just drunk all the time.
How unlike Finnish people. Okay.
I know, shocking. So yeah, and when I found out how boring he actually is when he's sober, then I was like, it didn't work out.
Was that tough? Like, you sobered up and you're like, this fucking...
The thing was, like, I knew him for quite some time, and I was like, oh, like we always like get along and we making jokes and stuff, and I always like I had a chemistry, but the thing was we were always out partying, drinking with friends, blah blah. So it's like already like the high energy in a room. It's like already you're having a good time because you're out, you're not working or whatever. And I was like always like I had this kind of illusion about him, like, oh, he's this guy, he's really outgoing, he's really la 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 la. And then I remember when I started to date him, and when I saw him actually being just sober and stuff, and he made some really weird comments. I was like, what the fuck? Like, are you for real? Like, where did this fun personality go away? Because he was totally day and night. Like, I was just like, oh, okay, sorry, bye. I was just like, sorry. I was like, I didn't know like you're actually like that. So it didn't work. Like, we didn't get along when we were sober. It was so weird. Okay. Like we were sober, and I was like, I have nothing to talk about.
Was there at one stage, before you'd sort of pulled it together and said, okay, fuck this guy, I'm out of here. Was there one stage you went, I got to get this guy drinks? Like, you were like thinking, like at that moment where you're like, I can fix this, or this is okay. You were like, Come on, you.
I don't want to have
the drink.
I don't want to have a kidney failure, you know, because he drink a lot. It was like when we were drinking a lot, like the entire bottle of Jägermeister, like tons and tons of alcohol. So it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like we're just on a date having a glass of wine. We got shit faced. We went to all the bars, out clubs, everything. It was just like, it was crazy. It was really intense and it was crazy. At first I was like, okay, it's fun, but it kind of lost its age, you know. It's like, is this it? Like really, like we just drink. Yeah. So I was like, at one point I was like, this is too much, you know. And then I visited him when he was working, and I was trying to talk to him like a normal person, like I'm actually like, I'm not drunk and stuff. And then I found out like, oh my God, I don't have any chemistry with this guy. Like none. Like it was so weird. I was like, yeah, but it's been always like when we go out, it's super loud and it's really, you know, there's a ton of people around us. And I was like, I've been dating with this guy for 3 months and I don't have any memories. Like basically, like I didn't have any memories because I was shit-faced the entire time. And finally I was like, no, this is not healthy at all. Like, no.
Okay, it's not a good thing.
Because I think you should like me when you're sober. That's like, I think so at least. I'm not sure, but I think.
God, you're so picky. Fucking, why do you like me first thing in the morning? Really? Oh, God, you want so much. These women so demanding, aren't they?
So mysterious.
I had maybe around the same time. I mean, I've been hanging around here for 10, 12, 13 years or something.
It's crazy.
And it is crazy. And I would say an observation from back in the day is I did once or twice date a couple of Finnish women. And a little bit more back in the day. Like if I talk to an Estonian girl, back in the day, not now, we're all different, we're all international, right on. Back in the day, if I talk to an Estonian girl, she'd be like, you just think I'm some Eastern European whore, don't you? And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, you're like, no, you just think you're coming here and going to date some Eastern European chick, aren't you? And I'm going to put out. I'm like, no, what? No. But when it was in Finland, like Finnish chicks never had that hang up. They never had the, oh, I'm from Eastern Europe. I'm from, you know, whatever, some Soviet bloc chick who just, some bimbo who put out. Like in Finland, they're just like, we down to fuck. Like that's just Finnish. Like, because that's just Finnish. They get shit-faced and that's what they do. And I'm not trying to say I was fucking, not at all. But like, I just never, that level of, I encountered many levels of resistance. But not that. Like that, like now maybe Estonia is a bit more international, so maybe that's not. Look, you'll get many more excuses, but maybe you don't get that excuse anymore. Like, oh, you just come here and you just think I'm some Eastern European chick.
Well, that was the thing. Like the Estonian chicks went to Turkey and everybody fucked everybody, and then there was like, you know, it was true. Like it was some period of time, like it was really happening, and everybody like from the south was thinking that we're a bunch of whores and we're like, you know, Canadian horny women and just we want to fuck everything and everybody. And when I was traveling, I was like, what the fuck? what the fuck? Like, yeah, I'm not interested. So it was, but it's the thing, like it's not only Estonians. There's a lot. It was like it was a misconception about Western women because they were more like open and like about the sexuality, about having fun, about feminine. They were like more feminist and stuff like that. And like some regions of Europe or even like whatever Turkey, whatever, they were like, oh, but like a woman should not express that they want to fuck you. Or like, you know, they were like, so in Finland, I was like, okay, that's cool that people are really open. And they were like, oh, I'm gay, I'm this and that, I like this, whatever. I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I love that. But the thing is, I remember when I went out and it's at some point I was really like, people were really rude to me. Like there was like some immigrants or whatever, like guys who were just working there, living there, studying there, come on, like really strong. Like, I mean, like they wouldn't even ask your name. They were just like, hey, pink, like hair, do you want to fuck? And I was like, what the, like, don't touch my hair, especially like, I had like bright hair and stuff and like that. And it was like really intense and I felt really uncomfortable because it's like, really, you don't even ask my name. It's like in this country, nobody gives a fuck. It's like you want to hook up or you don't.
Oh, they were used to it. You're trying to say they were used to Finnish chicks
it's just like
so direct.
Yeah, so like, you know, it's like, we don't like, it's just a hookup. Who cares? Like, and for me, it was like, I was like, what?
An Estonian woman, I understand it.
have some manners, honey. And it was a lot. And it was like every time that we went out with coworkers or whatever, there was always somebody who was just like offering, like one night stand. And I'm just like, I know that I'm not that attractive. What the fuck is going on? Why is everybody basically? It was like, no, that they are the mind, like how do you say? Like the mentality was different. So, and I was not used to that. I was used to that somebody who kind of like slowly try to pick you up or whatever. Like it was not really direct. It was like, you want me or not?
Yeah.
Yes or no? You want to come to my place?
Now, don't get me wrong. As I hope to try to impress that I believe in equality. I believe in all the things. But, look, if you're a foreigner and you move to Oulu, maybe you should get some blonde pussy. Like, just, you lived in Oulu. Like, come on. There's got to be some reward for moving there. Maybe that's their reward. That they're like, yes, we're in Rovaniemi, and your reward for living in this piece of shit, cold hellhole, is that there's, a few hot chicks.
The locals actually, the local Finnish people thought that I was from the north because they were like, you talk so retarded Finnish. Like, what the fuck? Are you from Oulu? I was like, what? I'm from Estonia. Oh, you have a weird accent. I was like, sorry. I was like, okay, just, whatever.
It is 6 o'clock.
Yes.
So maybe we should wrap it up there. We could keep going, but of course, this is the Comedy Estonia channel. We've got a Kulapod happening. I think it's happening. I believe it's happening. I think it's happening with Carl and Arado right after this. Sille, thank you again for another week.
Always.
This is fun. This is good. So we're going to be back next week again at 4 o'clock on Friday.
If you're not sick of me, then yeah. I'm just like...
You're not sick of me. Oh my God. All right. But you've got to get on Bumble. We need a few more Bumble stories next week.
Fine.
Tinder.
Can you please match at least somebody? Please match.
Get you on Tinder. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to try both. And
very good. Thank you very much. Thank you all for listening. We very much appreciate that you listen to our live stream. You listen to what we do. We're going to see you again next week. See you guys.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.